Welcome to my birth story video. I was planning to do it looking a little bit fresher than this and other clothing and so on, but I just want to get this video recorded now when everything is like fresh in my mind. This little man is just 1 week old now, so it's only been 1 week, so I still have it very fresh in my mind. Luckily as well, I made notes straight away after he's born, like what happened and times and spur of the moment kind of thoughts. So that's really nice to have. But let's get into the birth story of Tobias. So last Thursday, I started to get some kind of pre-labor contractions at around lunchtime. They then continued for another couple of hours. I had like a big lunch, had a shower. We packed the hospital bag and snacks, or Andrew prepared all the snacks. I had a shower. I noticed that my mucus plug had gone then as well. At about 4:30, 3 o'clock, I had that shower. After the shower, that is when the contractions started to intensify and actually started to like hurt. And I knew that, like at that point, I just knew that we're gonna have a baby at least in the coming 12 hours or so, or coming day or so. I called my mum and my sister just to prepare them and say that, hey, we will most likely go to the hospital tonight, so they would come and spend time with Torbjörn, so we could leave him with them. So they were like on the way home at that time. I just had my breathing techniques to go through the contractions. They started to like really, bless you, they started to really intensify and hurt. By 4 o'clock, they started to become a lot more painful, still manageable with just breathing techniques. I found this amazing YouTube channel from a doula who put up amazing content about like pregnancy and birth and like post, like after birth in general as well. So I will link her channel somewhere below in the comments or so. So really check them out. One of the breathing techniques that really helped during the contractions all the way until like actually having the baby was one that was like you breathe in for 4 seconds and then breathe out for about 8 seconds, and she goes through it so well on her channel. So I will leave that to her to like check that video and learn and practice, because I had a few weeks to practice on them before this before my labor, and I felt like they really helped. She had a couple of other videos that really helped as well on how to do the breathing and breathing techniques that made a huge difference. But I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But yeah, I had my breathing through the contractions between 5 and 6 o'clock. That was like the most painful contractions, and I called the hospital to say that I'm gonna come in now. So I called them and they said, yeah, cool, we'll see you soon. And we got into the hospital just after 6:30, 6:38, I know it says in my journal, at the hospitals. That's when they kind of checked us in like at the reception, and then got into the observation to see how open it was. I was at that point 8 centimeters, and you need to get to 10 centimeters ish before you actually start to push and have the baby. So that means that it was really close. I wanted to have a water birth, however something told me that I should just stay in that room that I was in, not trying to change positions or rooms and so on, which at the end everyone was really pleased with, because I would have most likely not made it to the room where they have the bath. So that was a good kind of intuition that I had not to leave the room, because that's probably just, it would have just made it more stressful than what a labor really is. So I'm really happy with that. So just really happy that I listened to my body and my intuition at that point. But anyway, checked the 8 centimeters. I had really painful contractions at that point. The midwife, or one of them, she pushed on my knee. So I was lying on the bed on my back and she was pushing on my knees. I don't know if it's like a standard to do that for everyone who is lying on the back on the bed. Like obviously first time around with Torbjörn, I had a water birth, so they never did that, because you don't do that in the bath. But to push on your knees, it's like acupressure, I think it's called. So that helped a lot with like pain, as a pain release, as well as she did press here, like on the third eye, like circles and so as well. That helped so much with the pain as well. And then on the side of my hips, that helped so much as well. So really, I think look into that if you're about to have a baby, because that was really good. Anyway, so she did that during the contractions. Andrew was obviously by my side as well, and just kind of hold my hand, and just being present. And I think like for me that was like the most amazing, like having your partner there to just be there if you need them, or if you don't, like they're just there as a support person and someone that you love and trust. After some contractions, I could start to feel my water was going to break. Again, that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to have an epidural, because I want to be in control. Like, I love being in control. That's just who I am. So I like to be in control and know what's going on with my body and in and around me. And not having an epidural would obviously help, because you feel everything. Yeah. Go say hey. Wow. Hello. Hey. Yeah, so you obviously feel everything if you don't have an epidural, for example. Nice kiss you. Yeah. Distraction there. So with one of the contractions, I could feel like my water was just about to break, and then with the next contraction, the water did break, and then from that point, it was kind of like really full on. Within a couple, maybe 3-4 contractions, the midwife told me that she could see the head already, and I was just thinking, wow, this is going really quickly. And then with another maybe 2 contractions, the head started to come out, and the head came out, and they were like, yeah, head is out now. And I just turned around and I just looked at them and said, wow, okay, this is really easy. And then I was like laughing at the same time to say, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that, because I know that it's more to come, like the rest of the body. But at least, you know, when the head is out, like for me, that's just like such a relief, because that's generally the toughest part to kind of get out. And during the rest of the labor, something that I'd already spoken to the midwives about, like, you know, 15 minutes earlier, was that I really want to prioritize not to tear. So one of the best ways is to really listen to the midwives that can tell if you're about to tear or not, and they can tell you when to stop pushing, even though if your body is telling you to push. And they were so freaking amazing in doing that, because as soon as they saw that I was going to tear, they could just say breathe, 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 and like as in just breathe, don't push, don't do anything else by just breathing. So I could literally just stop. It was like I went into this different stage of my mind and just stopped moving, stopped pushing, stopped everything like that. And a lot of those small little things made a huge difference for me, pain wise. So less pain and more control. And being more controlled, I felt more like confident and happy about everything going on as well. So that's very comforting. So breathing techniques and meditating before your due date, I would say, like that was a life, like for me that was a lifesaver. Like that made such a huge difference for me. And obviously in this instant, because I could listen to the midwives about pushing or not pushing and breathing through contractions and pushing stages and so on, because I could control that in a good way, I did limit the possibility to tear. Obviously, it doesn't mean that you always can, limit. Like even if I did that, I could have like had a tear anyway, but it made a difference. And I think even if it made a difference, that's worth spending that time before labor to meditate and just really get in tune with your body before this massive stage in your life. And I didn't tear. Like I didn't tear like whatsoever, not even to the point where it was like it wasn't hurting downstairs after it. Like it was just no damage made, which is awesome. So partially because obviously I listened to the midwives and they said it after too, like you just listened so well, and that had a huge like contributed to you having a really good and like non-complicated labor. Really, hiccups. So he was born 1932. So if you've remember when we got into the hospital, that means he was born within 50 minutes. Another fun thing that happened during our labor as well is when I was in so much pain, I leaned back and really said to Andrew when he was asking if I'm doing okay, and I'm like, no. And I remember that's so funny because obviously I'm in the middle of labor and don't well, it's not an okay stage, it's very painful and so. And then after the final contraction and push, Tobias came out and this little bundle of joy just filled our hearts with so much love. It was unbelievable. Like just having him straight away onto my chest and just seeing him, how beautiful and perfect he looked like. Oh, he was just so amazing. The placenta came out not too long after that. We still kept the cord, like we didn't cut the cord until quite a few moments after, like up to about 15 minutes, because of the benefits that could give him to have that going for a few more minutes compared to like cutting it straight away. So it's delayed in the clamping, but it was just so truly amazing. And then we got our förlossningsfika. So in Sweden you get fika delivered to your bedside table or bedside, and we had that. Everything happened within an hour, literally within an hour of getting into the hospital. We were having fika, like tea and sandwiches, and it was just, we were laughing so much about it, literally. And also because I was like rested, I felt good, was dying to get into the shower. But other than that, it was good. It was so good. I am so filled with gratefulness for that type of birth and delivery. And I hope me publishing this video, one of my main reasons for it is just to spread positive stories about birth as well, that there is completely complication-free births and deliveries. There is you can have a birth without tearing, for example. Like, it's just yeah, spreading that positivity instead of just like a lot of horror kind of stories that you hear about and see. So yeah, no, it was all very, very beautiful. He started to latch on straight away to breastfeeding. Oh, bless you. As well, which was really good, because I was like, oh, how do you do this? Even if it wasn't too long ago, I was like, I don't know if I remember this. But he knew. And then we did the post checks that you do after 2 hours after they are born. He was a little bit cold, so we were sitting, Andrew was sitting like skin to skin for a while, just to get his body temperature up a little bit. So it was 36, it needs to be like 36.5, I think, or more, in order for them to kind of discharge you from the delivery room and get you into the hotel. So at the hospital that we were at, you get discharged and you get checked into a hotel, or like a hotel room, which is just next door to the hospital. So we got checked into the hotel, and we had like another little fika, and then pretty much just jumped into bed for get some sleep, because it was at midnight by the time that we were like finished eating and kind of relaxed. Had a shower. The shower after a birth, oh my god, that's like one of the best things you can do in life. Is to have a shower, and obviously having had like a little container with my wild orange shampoo. Oh my god, it's like a spa. Big tip to bring. But yeah, the shower after birth is like the best shower ever. Just to feel super clean and more relaxed and warm, and but that is how he came into this world. Yeah, because yeah, he got my little Tobias, who's 1 week now. I love you. If there was anything that I didn't answer in this video, or if you have any questions, feel free to comment below or connect on Instagram, because I'm more active there. Yes. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.